right. Alright, hello, my name is Eva Jackson. I'm a counselor here. I'll be helping you today. So my responsibility is to help you and your loved ones become more successful and to give you more insight on why you came in today. We're going to spend around 15-ish minutes today trying to get to know you, find out what some of your stressors may be, and then everything's going to be kept confidential. Your name won't be on any documents. It'll be completely anonymous. And we're going to work together as a team to come up with ways to help lessen your stressors and to help make you feel more at ease, especially you and your loved ones. We're going to start with just a couple basic questions today. So what brings you in?
Just during my nursing career, I've had numerous moral and ethical dilemmas that I've struggled with, and they just continue to weigh on me.
Okay. Well, how long have you been in the nursing field?
I've been working as a nurse in the hospital for around 2 years now, but I had about 600 clinical hours while in school, so there's previous experience as well.
Okay. So have you had any counseling in the past for any of your concerns?
No. Everything's just starting to affect my daily life because I continue to think about it, which is why I decided to finally come in today.
Okay, all right. Well, at the end of this interview, I'm going to send you home with kind of a packet of paperwork. What it's going to go over is mental health and the best way to approach your life and your working career in nursing, and hopefully you'll be able to get good information from there as to what may be happening. So when did you first begin to notice these symptoms affecting you outside of work?
I'd probably say right around the 1 year mark of my career.
Okay. All right. Did you have any physical symptoms?
Yeah. It began with me just beginning to have a hard time sleeping, and when I would fall asleep, it was very common that I would have nightmares. I then noticed I had a loss of an appetite and didn't enjoy most of the things and daily activities that I usually do. It was just an overall general weakness and sadness that was beginning to consume me.
All right, I completely understand. So these are all kind of common symptoms of anxiety and depression. So the worksheets that I send you home with will go over this, and they'll be very helpful to you because not only will they give you some of the symptoms that you may not realize you're having, but they'll give you information on how to control the feelings and ways that you can kind of stop them and work on them. So do you have any history of mental health problems in your family?
Yeah, I have a grandparent that suffers from depression, but as far as that, that's really all I know of.
Okay. Would you like for this session to kind of like your main goal be getting over these symptoms of depression, or do you have another goal in mind?
Yeah, just getting over the depression is a huge goal of mine.
Okay. All right. Well, is there any one circumstance that kind of brought about these feelings? Is it kind of a gradual increase throughout your time working there?
Yeah, there's one instance that really put me on edge, and I think that was the final straw that started my feelings, but I do think it's been a gradual increase as well.
Okay, so what happened during that one instance?
We had a patient come in who was on palliative care, which basically means they do not resuscitate, and it's just really end-of-life care to make sure they go comfortably and not in any pain. But to add to it, the biggest thing is that she was a prisoner of the state and was in prison for child trafficking and was even reported to have trafficked her own kids throughout the years, and she passed during that shift later on, and it was just kind of tragic that we couldn't release the news of her death or her body to the family in any way, shape, or form, just because she belonged to the state technically rather than her family at that point. So we had to wait around for a while for an investigator up from the prison to come and confirm the death, as well, even after the doctor had confirmed it, just so they can see that nothing was planned to help her escape from prison.
So did you have to wait there with her body?
We were in and out, but there's two police officers that were constantly in the room.
Okay.
And they would log us every time we came in, names and everything that we did and all that good stuff. So when she finally had passed, they kind of were stuck in the room. We were stuck for a minute just being, under her care. So we had to prepare her for somebody to come in and even clean up any mess that she had made during the struggle that she had at the end of her life. But she was in there. We were in there waiting for the investigator to call or show up for several hours after she had passed. So it was it weighed on me pretty heavy.
Was she kind of a pleasant patient to have, or was it more of just, I don't want to say a burden, but...
At the beginning of the shift, I learned that she couldn't speak. Well, with palliative care, it really is end of life. So a lot of your elderly patients find themselves in this instance where they can't speak. You really just give them their pain meds to make sure they go comfortably and don't suffer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So she was completely immobile and couldn't speak and really had no bodily functions.
Okay. Well, this can definitely be a big stressor, especially when children are involved. Is it kind of common to see cases like this, or is it more of a rare instance?
It's not usually in the same circumstances. It's common for us to have prisoners come into the hospital, but this particular case just seemed to really stick with me.
Okay. Are there any other cases or circumstances that have stuck with you throughout your years there?
Yeah, I had one other difficult situation when I lost a child, a newborn, in that matter, during a shift.
Do you want to tell me more about that?
Yeah, that's fine. I was on my OB rotation, and we got notified that there was going to be an emergency C-section. So I rushed to the dressing room to put on my sterile scrubs, for the OR, and I just so happened to be getting dressed with the father of the child to be born. So I was just talking to him, asking him how he's doing, and then we got around to talking about the baby, and I asked him if it was his first child, and he confirmed that it was, but then shared with me that him and his wife, or him and his family, were not expecting the baby to make it due to it having a rare form of dwarfism. So that really caught me off guard, and I didn't really know what to say, so I just, kind of tried to change the subject, but because I wasn't notified of this going into the dressing room. So once we were in the operating room, the nurse finally pulled me out and told me the same thing, which I shared that the dad had told me outside, which, it's just hard for the family to talk about that in general, but for me to find out that way was pretty shocking, and it really bothered me.
Was it something that kind of brought you closer because you kind of felt like you were comfortable with the family? Is that something that could have bothered you more?
Yeah, but you learn not to really become attached to the patients individually. You just kind of have to learn how to see things from a whole.
Okay. Is that something you struggled with before too? Not really seeing them getting too attached?
Yes and no. There's some patients who are easy to not get attached to, but this certain situation, for some reason, it was a struggle.
Okay. Well, it seems like a lot of the instances that have impacted you kind of revolve around children. Is there any reason you could think of that might explain why?
The only thing that comes to mind is that, a child, or, just a newborn, a child, anybody around that age just really hasn't lived their life nearly as long as an adult has, because they don't make it to adulthood. So anything that involves a child is a little more sensitive, just because they haven't had many experiences and haven't lived long enough to really have a full life. So I guess that's a reason that comes to play as well. I get a little more upset when situations that involve children happen.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. I completely understand that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer you to a psychologist, and I'm going to see if she can find any other underlying factors that could be contributing to your feelings. Are you okay with doing something like that?
Yeah, I think that would be a great place to start from here.
All right, awesome. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get your referral and your paperwork together. So you're going to read over the paperwork, and you're going to see if you're impacted by any of the other symptoms as well. You can go over it with a highlighter, kind of mark any symptoms you're having. That way you have note of it. If you're able to as well, while you're working, if you want to jot down instances that seem to have stressed you a little bit more than others, and then write down your kind of overall moods and feelings, and then those will keep patterns of what's happening in your daily life, and maybe we'll find something from there, and we can talk to the psychologist about that information. So she's going to be a great help for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all your help.
Absolutely. So do you have any other questions before we end our session?
No, not that come to mind.
Okay. Well, if you're thinking about anything, have any questions, do not hesitate to call. I will also be at your first meeting with a psychologist, so you'll see me again. I just want to ensure that she gets all the information that I got. She understands all my notes. You don't leave out anything that may have stuck out more so to me. Well, I enjoyed speaking with you today, and it was very nice to meet you, and I'm going to see you next week with Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you as well.
All right.